Hi, welcome to the Saturday Show. I'm Kurt Vincent with the Bladen Journal. My guest this weekend is Jim Newman. He's a retired lieutenant colonel with the United States Air Force. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Kurt.
You're here because this is a special weekend, Memorial Weekend.
It certainly is a very special weekend.
Now, you grew up in a military family. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it was quite an experience. I was the oldest of 9 children in the family, and my dad was a full colonel in the Army. Ultimately, that's what he retired as. So I was a platoon leader by the time I was about 6 years old, and he would go off for months at a time, and he would always leave me in charge.
Okay. Now, you were one of quite a few children.
Yes.
9, I think there was
9
altogether.
kids. Yeah. I had 6 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay. Now, I think it would be appropriate right off the bat, and probably informative for many folks out there, to tell us the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Veterans Day is to honor the people who have actually served in the military. Memorial Day, on the other hand, is to honor those people who actually made the ultimate sacrifice for the country. Everyone who signs up for the military goes in, signs a blank check made out to the American people in the amount up to and including my life. And in the memo line at the bottom it says basically for freedom of the Republic. Memorial Day is to honor those people who paid that price.
And we're talking about those veterans from Revolutionary War, Civil War, right up through the current Afghanistan, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And that, at this point, numbers in the hundreds of thousands.
A lot more than that.
Probably.
We're looking at a tremendous cost to this country that is very, very difficult to quantify. And just quantifying the number of people who made that price doesn't take into consideration the price that was paid by those families. You know, it might be a boy 12 years old at a baseball game wishing that his dad could have been there.
Right, and that's probably something that people don't think about that much. They understand the loss of life for that individual, but that touches so many others.
So many others for such a long period of time, because you got a child 9 or 10 years old who loses their father, or somebody who's 20 who loses a brother. That will carry through every time they have an Easter Sunday, a Mother's Day, a Christmas, and that price is something that's always there when you look on the mantle and you see that place where there should be somebody sitting at the table, but who is not.
Right. Now, at one point in your family history, your mom had to endure the fact that 3 of you were serving at the same time. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it was quite a memorable year. My father at the time was stationed in Saigon. I was stationed in Vietnam 9 or 10 months out of the year of 1970. Of course, he was Army, I was Air Force, and then my brother, who retired as a commander in the Navy, was a fighter pilot who flew off of carriers. And all 3 of us were in Vietnam at the same time, Army, Navy, and Air Force.
Right. And I think the fact that the 3 of you were there at the same time is interesting enough, but 3 different arms of the service.
That's correct. And now, just this last Saturday, the youngest of my siblings, John Robert, returned from Afghanistan, and he's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force also. So the 4 of us, all combat veterans, have careers that total actually over 102 years, spanning 68 years, starting with World War II, going through Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, and now Afghanistan. So I guess that makes us a military family.
Right. And I want to get to your brother John in just a minute again, but what is your mom doing now?
She has a company in Indianapolis that is called MJ Custom Aircraft Interiors. She's had the company for about 35 years. She's 84 and she works about 12 hours a day doing aircraft interiors.
Good. That's something.
It's amazing, it really is.
That's it. Now you talked about your brother John, who is continuing to serve this country, and you shared a story with me recently about some of the things that he's done while he's been in the service. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the one of the things that really impressed me was the way he picked up the values of having compassion on people. That was one of the things my dad taught all of us. He was in Afghanistan and ran into an Army full colonel who had a granddaughter who had a fatal heart defect. They did not expect her to live through March. He contacted the Indianapolis Rotary Club, he contacted Indiana University, he contacted several other organizations. I believe McDonald's was one of those, and if I'm leaving anybody out, I apologize. But he arranged to have the 4 surgeries performed at no cost by a heart surgeon at Indiana University. Little girl's name was Asma, A-S-M-A. I've seen pictures of her. She returned to Afghanistan with her mother in March, and she's going to live a full life. So
that's terrific.
Really, really impressed with that.
That was all sparked by your brother's actions.
Yes, he made 127 missions, what they call over the barbed wire, into the countryside. And during that period, he had volunteers that would go with him to distribute blankets and food, water containers, supplies of all kinds that the villagers didn't have. So it was quite an interesting tour for him.
Right. So really some of the battles that are fought and some of the efforts made by soldiers and veterans aren't just on the battlefield. They are in life.
That's true. And it's one of the things that is most amazing about the American fighting man is the heart that fighting man has. When I was in Taiwan, the time I enjoyed getting out of Vietnam for a little bit of a break, we spent a lot of our time with a local orphanage down there and would have all kinds of raffles and supported an orphanage just outside Ching Kwan Kong Air Base.
Right. Now, in your own words, tell us why Memorial Day should be seen as far more than a day off from work or a day for cookouts.
Memorial Day, while we enjoy all those things that we sometimes take for granted, we need to stop and recognize that there are people there in that cemetery, in Arlington, all over the United States, and those families on that day certainly remember their loved one who paid that ultimate price. I typically enjoy getting out in uniform to a church service to try to remind people that we enjoy what we have today because of those people. There would be no picnics, there would be no baseball games, there would be no fireworks display on the 4th of July if it weren't for those people who paid that price. And Memorial Day is that one time that we concentrate on that, or really should.
Right. Well, Jim, I certainly appreciate you sharing your story and your information with us, and we certainly thank you for your service and that of your family.
Thank you.
And we hope that you all will recognize and honor those who have served time for this country. And we urge you to celebrate Memorial Day in the right way. And we thank you for joining us on the Saturday show, and we hope you all have a good week.